How many things would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? A mother takes 20 years to make a man out of her boy, and another woman makes a fool of him in 20 minutes. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. A bank is a place where they lend you an umbrella in fair weather and ask for it back when it begins to rain. Half the world is composed of people who have something to say and can't, and the other half who have nothing to say and keep on saying it. Love is an irresistible desire to be irresistibly desired. The afternoon knows what the morning never suspected. The reason why worry kills more people than work is that more people worry than work. Never be bullied into silence. Never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life. Define yourself. We love the things we love for what they are. Don't ever take a fence down until you know why it was put up. Home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. The best way out is always through. Freedom lies in being bold. If we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane. There is one thing more exasperating than a wife who can cook and won't, and that's a wife who can't cook and will. A jury consists of 12 persons chosen to decide who has the better lawyer. Something we were withholding made us weak until we found it was ourselves. We dance round in a ring and suppose, but the secret sits in the middle and knows. How many things have to happen to you before something occurs to you? Poetry is when an emotion has found its thought and the thought has found words. There are two kinds of teachers. The kind that fill you with so much quail shot that you can't move, and the kind that gives you a little prod behind and you jump to the skies. To be a poet is a condition, not a profession. A diplomat is a man who always remembers a woman's birthday, but never remembers her age. You are always believing ahead of your evidence. The most creative thing in us is to believe in a thing. A liberal is a man too broad-minded to take his own side in a quarrel. Families break up when they get hints you don't intend and miss hints that you do. By faithfully working 12 hours a day, you may eventually get to be boss and work 14 hours a day. Unless you are educated in metaphor, you are not safe to be let loose in the world. The brain is a wonderful organ. It starts working the moment you get up in the morning and does not stop until you get into the office. Thinking is not to agree or disagree. That's voting. The world is full of willing people, some willing to work, the rest willing to let them. The best things and best people rise out of their separateness. Most of the change we think we see in life is due to truths being in and out of favor. What we live by, we die by. You've got to love what's lovable and hate what's hateable. It takes brains to see the difference. Good fences make good neighbors. Education doesn't change life much. It just lifts trouble to a higher plane of regard. Anything more than the truth would be too much. A civilized society is one which tolerates eccentricity to the point of doubtful sanity. A person will sometimes devote all of his life to the development of one part of his body, the wishbone. Our very life depends on everything, recurring till we answer from within. Nobody has ever meant to remember or invent what he did with every cent. The worst disease which can afflict executives in their work is not, as popularly supposed, alcoholism. It's egotism. What is done for the love of it, or not really done at all. For dear me, why abandon a belief merely because it ceases to be true? Being the boss anywhere is lonely. Being a female boss in a world of mostly men is especially so. A poem begins as a lump in the throat, a sense of wrong, a homesickness, a lovesickness. Avoid people who see your shortcomings and justify or even approve of them. Such people are either flatterers or cowards, or simply fools. Do not expect help from them in any trouble or misfortune. Poetry is what gets lost in translation. Talking is a hydrant in the yard, and writing is a faucet upstairs in the house. Opening the first takes all the pressure off the second. No tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. No surprise in the writer, no surprise in the reader. Don't tell anyone that you're lonely, because once again, you will convince yourself of this. A poem begins in daylight and ends in wisdom. Life must be kept up at a great rate in order to absorb any considerable amount of learning. The chief reason for going to school is to get the impression fixed for life that there is a book side for everything. There never was any heart truly great and generous that was not also tender and compassionate. To be social is to be forgiving. Never marry a woman who has already had many men it is likely that she will use her experience to harm you. Like a piece of ice on a hot stove, the poem must ride on its own melting. An idea is a feat of association, and the height of it is a good metaphor.